We're talking about what's happening in India's civil aviation sector, and it's a lot. Now, the latest, Indigo has been asked by the Civil Aviation Ministry to cut its winter schedule capacity by 10%. How is this going to affect the airline? If you're wondering right now if the stock is less than 1% down, well, some of the reasons could be found in what Sumit Sarkar is going to explain next. Optically, it looks bad. It's gone from 5% to 10%, Sumit, in terms of the flight cuts. But is it actually going to hurt Indigo that much?
Exactly not, because if you look at these numbers, you'll clearly understand why the stock is not reacting the way it should have reacted. Now, yes, 10% cut is what Civil Minister has asked for Indigo to cut their capacity by. But if you look at the numbers, for winter schedule, what Indigo had planned was close to 2,145 flights on a daily basis. But what they were doing before this cancellation fiasco was just 1,940. Now, if you remove 10% out of 2,145, the number comes to 1,930. Which actually means that before the cancellation fiasco and right now post the government cut, they have to just reduce their flight number by 10 flights on a daily basis, which is actually nothing for Indigo at this moment, given the fact that current issues with flights is largely because of pilot shortage, which is still ongoing, and hence they would have anyways not been able to fly close to 2,145 flights on a daily basis. So it's kind of a blessing in disguise that has come in for Indigo at this moment. Now, other airlines, they also won't be able to make up for this shortfall, and this is largely because there is aircraft shortage in the market, and this is also one of the reasons why other airlines like Air India have not been able to increase their capacity even in the winter schedule because of the aircraft shortage. So what will this lead to now? This will lead to higher passenger load factor, which means that better utilization for all the airlines across the industry and higher fares as well. And this will definitely benefit not only Indigo but also SpiceJet and Air India. Now, the only negative here for Indigo is that even if they get more capacity going forward, their growth will be capped at least till Q4 of FY26. So the growth will be just based on airfares and high utilization now going forward, and not on capacity growth. Now, what is the impact of this flight cancellation? A financial impact. Indigo has around 190 seats on each flight, and each flight is around on an average 1,000 kilometer. Now, the revenue loss based on Q3 numbers would be close to 10.3 lakh rupees per flight. But the impact on profitability will be lower because the variable cost moves out for them. So the variable cost is close to 2.5. So per flight loss, fixed cost is actually 2.5. So the per flight cost for them is close to 4.8 lakh rupees. Now, in the third quarter of FY26, so far they have cancelled close to 5,200 flights. So the impact on profitability will be close to 250 crore, which is around 10% of its Q3 FY25, that is the last year number profitability. Now, around 109 days are left in the winter schedule, and the Delhi capacity is cut by 215. So, if anyone had assumed that that Indigo would fly around 2,145 flights on a daily basis, so that assumption will now come down by around 23,435 flights. So these are the number of flights that Indigo now can't fly in the third quarter based on compared to what earlier assumptions were. Now, as per what our calculation is, the notional revenue loss per flight would be close to 10.3 lakh rupees. So the overall loss over a period of 109 days will be close to 2,400 crore rupees. To give a context, on a quarterly basis, Indigo does generate a revenue of close to 22,000 crore rupees, and the profit number on a quarterly basis is 2,449. So not much of an impact based on what the company has been doing. But who will bear the bigger impact of this curtailment? It's firstly passengers in terms of higher fares, hotels because of lower occupancies, because a lot of travel plans could get cut down, and travel agency companies like will also impact because of lower bookings that we'll see going forward. Now, there is airfare cap that has been imposed by the government, but even that will not help passengers, because even the airfare cap or the maximum fare cap that the government has decided is nearly 2 to 3 times a normal fare. So we have done this calculation, but as per the government norms what they have given, for up to 500 kilometer, the fare cap has been as around 7,500. Now, up to 500 kilometer is generally Delhi-Lucknow route, and there the average fare is close to 3,842. So this is nearly 2 times of the average fare. Similarly, for Delhi-Patna, which comes under the 500 to 1,000 bracket, fare cap is 12,000, while the average fare is close to 5,000 rupees. For 1,000 to 1,500 kilometer, we have considered Mumbai-Delhi route. Fare cap is 15,000, while the average fare used to be 5,232. And for 1,500 plus kilometer is the Delhi-Chennai route, where the fare cap is 18,000 rupees, while the average fare used to be close to 6,400. So despite this fare cap that the government has imposed, airlines could continue to earn much more than what they were earning earlier because of this curtailment that government has imposed on Indigo.
So this is when you read between the lines that you get the real picture.